Hello, hello, happy Friday. I'm Sinclair with Mystical Heart Collective, and this is our weekly live. And this week I'm talking about managing expectations with psychedelics, which I love this topic. I have been so jazzed up this week about it because it's so powerful as a skill to learn when you are working and healing with psychedelics. And most of the time, we're not really treating our expectations or managing expectations as a skill that we can use to improve not only our experiences with psychedelics but also our daily lives and like how we react to other people, how we do everything. So what I want to talk about today is I'm going to dive into a little bit about what the blog that I wrote this week about this, and talk a little bit more about what that looks like. Like, how do we do this? And the first way that we do is to investigate, okay, what exactly are expectations and like where are they coming from? And so when you think about this, you can look at yourself and you can look at your expectations around psychedelics, or you can look at your expectations you have anywhere in your life. An expectation is a story, right? It's a story about how we want something to go, how we want it to unfold. It's a story about an outcome. And we tell ourselves stories all the time of, when anything happens, our mind creates a narrative around it. And this is something that we do. Every human does this. We are storytelling to ourselves all the time. When something we don't like happens, we're like, well, here's this story around why this happened. And almost always our story is not what actually happened, or not the whole thing that actually happened. And it's the same kind of deal with psychedelics. So people come to heal with psychedelics for all kinds of reasons. So you may be curious, you may have been like a recreational, more like user for fun, and you're kind of like, I want to transition into intentional use with these substances and I want to work with plant medicine. Maybe you have some kind of chronic illness that you want to work on this with. Maybe it's like PTSD, anxiety, depression, addiction, all of these things that are really powerful things that you can heal with psychedelics. We start investigating, we start doing research, we start reading and learning about what's going on with other people, what are these other reasons that people are coming to this, and what happened for them. Well, I read this story about this guy who had an ayahuasca journey and healed his diabetes overnight. Or I know a guy whose sister went to Peru and healed her heroin addiction. Or my friend had a DMT experience that blasted him out of himself. He lost his ego, and now, like, he's not depressed anymore. So there's all these kinds of, those are all stories, right? Like, stories of other people. They may be true, they may not be true, we don't know. Um, but what it does is creates expectations. It creates hope. Mostly expectations are kind of built on, like, what do we hope happens? What is our desired outcome? What do we want to see when we put, our money, our time, ourselves into this work? And those kind of things can like plant the seeds of expectations, right? So expectations start to grow and they start to like develop into this whole thing. And a lot of people show up at a retreat where they're like, okay, I need to heal my relationship with my family. I need to be a better dad, a better parent, better sibling. I need to be able to change jobs. Like, they start to get really huge, these expectations and stories that we've decided that we want. And they're like, I have 10 days to do this, so let's get cracking. And then they have their first medicine experience and it doesn't line up with the expectations. And that's really, really devastating. It can be really disappointing. And it can be painful, and especially when you're seeing other people in your group, or other, you've seen other people have these results and you're not getting those results. So one of the first things that we teach in Psychedelic Integration Academy is the skill of managing expectations. And it is a skill. It's not something you can kind of just decide. It takes practice and it takes work and like intention to go into these stories that you have. And that's part of why in the first few weeks when we're preparing people to work with these medicines, we work with them on like, what do you want? What do you need? Where is that coming from? What is your why? Like, why are you doing all of this? And what are you expecting to happen? And kind of admitting or coming to clarity with our expectations is a really good place to start. The second thing, and I think this is a valuable skill to learn no matter what you're doing, we always compare ourselves to other people, particularly in the West, of like, this person's doing better than me, this person knows more than me, they had a more visual experience than me, they were throwing up more than me. I've seriously heard people upset that they weren't purging as much as someone else, right? So, which is a whole different video. We will talk about that in a few weeks. But this comparison, this constant comparison, where we're comparing ourselves to other people, we are being hard on ourselves for not being like at the same point of someone else, or not being able to take as much medicine as someone else. That's something I see a lot of. Well, if I just take more, then I'll get what I want. And that's not true. That does not track at all. A lot of people need a lot more medicine than other people who get a much stronger experience with just a very little bit. Like, so one of the first places to start is we have to stop comparing ourselves to other people. We have to start practicing celebrating other people and celebrating other people's successes, their breakthroughs, their wins, their joy. And instead of saying, well, this person got this thing and I didn't get that. And that's something that not only will help you in your psychedelic healing work, but it will help you in your life. We live in a society that is constantly pushing competition and comparison, and you're not good enough, and you're not worthy, and you should have this and you don't have it. I mean, that's what all of consumerist capitalism is based on. And this is not, I'm not saying that, capitalism is the system that we live in at the moment. But there is a way to provide services and to participate in the system that we have without taking a whip to yourself every day of like, I need to be better, I need to be different, I need to be thinner, I need to be smaller, I need to be a different color, I need to be some other way than what I am. Psychedelic healing is about self-acceptance. It is about authenticity. It is about remembering who you are without all of that noise telling you that what that is not good enough. And managing your expectations can look like, this is good for me. This journey that I got is good for me. This is what I needed. This is where I am in the process. And every time we practice connecting with that, whether it's with psychedelics or with something else in your life, where, when you feel that kind of twinge of, oh, I see, for an example, like sometimes we feel that twinge when someone we know is doing really well. That's not coming from you. That's coming from, you should be jealous of that person, or you should be in competition with that person. And when we can break that habit and that narrative of always trying to compete and always trying to like one up each other, that's where we start to really open ourselves up to sharing. It feels really good to support other people. It feels really good to lift people up instead of tearing them down. And something that psychedelics will make you look at is if you are getting your value from tearing other people down, if you are building yourself up at the expense of other people, that's something that you're going to need to look at with these medicines, because that's what they do. They go into us and they show us, they like have their flashlight and they're like, here is a really shitty thing that you are doing in your life. We are going to look at this, you're going to look at it, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to unpack it and go into it and like, where is this coming from? Why do I do this? And that's the whole process of discovery over and over and over. And so managing, just thinking about how our process works, whatever you're going through, wherever you are right now, is exactly where you're meant to be. If you are struggling with addiction and you are in your active addiction, that's exactly where you're meant to be, because you are working your way out of that. being in, and I know how painful this is because this is one thing that I overcame, those addictive cycles where you're just like, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I stuck in this? Why am I lost in here? Why can't I just stop drinking or using or whatever thing that you're doing? Because it's a coping mechanism. And expecting yourself to take this way that you've been coping and put it aside and just be like, I'm done, it's great now, without finding out what's underneath that and like digging in and healing that wound that's causing this to be the coping mechanism, that's causing this escapism, that's causing this like inability to feel whatever's going on. That's what psychedelics can help you do. It's a really beautiful tool. And that brings me to my next point, which is psychedelics are a tool. Psychedelics are a beautiful, powerful, amazing tool, but that's what they are. They're tools. They're not miracles. Have I seen and felt personally miraculous, amazing outcomes from working with psychedelics? Absolutely, absolutely. They are really, really powerful. In one night, you can get like, I have had breakthroughs that have happened in one ceremony where it would have taken me like 10 years in therapy. It's just that powerful. But it's also what we do with it. So if you go to a retreat and you are not prepared, you're not ready to look at yourself, you're not willing to do the hard work of facing what's going on, you cannot get those breakthroughs because it's not time. You're not ready. You're not open and willing to go there. And that piece, that preparation piece, and the integration piece that comes after, this is all a big healing circle. And you have to be willing to do the whole everything to really get the full benefit of working with these plants. And they just, they particularly ayahuasca, and I think even iboga gets a lot of really kind of flashy press around like, oh, this is it, this is the answer, this is the magic pill, right? And ayahuasca is not a magic pill. Ayahuasca is the spirit. Ayahuasca is our grandmother. It's the spirit of the earth. She's like an ancient teacher. The same with mushrooms. Mushrooms have been collecting the information of the earth for millions and millions and millions of years. And they have all of this cosmic knowledge and wisdom, and they remove all of the barriers that we have and connect us directly to source. And you can say, maybe that's God, maybe that's you, maybe that's everything. It's all of those things. But we're still human, right? We're still in our physical bodies. We're still in the circumstances that brought us to this healing place. And we are still needing to be patient and to remember that this takes time. This is a process. Healing is a process. Like, think about if you cut yourself, and first you cut yourself, it really hurts, and then later, as a little bit later, it'll stop bleeding, it starts to like, it's throbbing because like your body is coming in, your body's like, oh my god, we have a problem, we need to heal this. And these medicines physically can be a catalyst for physical healing. I personally recently had this happen to me in a really amazing way. I went to Mexico. I had been feeling I was really stressed and sick, in like an energetic, there was like a stagnant energy that I was dealing with, and I knew that I needed to go in ceremony, right? But I was really scared because of what's going on and like all the COVID stuff, and we've been really careful. We're very safe, and we don't unnecessarily like put ourselves at risk. But it had gotten bad enough where I was like, I need the plants. I need to sit with these medicines. This is how I work through things for myself. And I was trying all this other stuff, and I was doing my practices, and it just wasn't working. And when I finally went to retreat, thank you, Amanda, at the Buena Vida, I went to a psilocybin retreat, and I shifted my mindset. I reset my gut-brain connection, and my body followed suit. After like 2 weeks, everything is fine again. And I was laughing at myself because I was like, this is how this works. You have been doing this for years. This is it's my profession, right? But I was so focused on the integration piece that one thing that was really a realization for me, and this was a managing expectations moment for me, was I wanted desperately, after living in Ecuador, to come back to the US and be like, okay, I can do all of this work without these plants. And then I realized why would like why would I? It's like finding something, it's like finding some kind of like having a car and needing to like go somewhere, and you're like, no, I have these legs, I'll just walk, it's fine, it'll take me 10 hours or 10 days, but I'll just walk. It's like, for me, these medicines really work, and having this relationship, and that's what it is, it's a relationship with them. And having this relationship with them really, really works. And so that for me is a realization of like, I shouldn't expect myself to be able to just magically be okay all the time. We have a really intense society world situation going on, and it's a chronic like stressor all the time. So we have to create these practices that are going to create the container for us to heal, and the medicines are part of that. And if you find your way to psychedelics and it works for you, you have your retreat. I know lots and lots of people that have been in retreat with us. They come back, they do another retreat in a year because they're like, I'm going to integrate all of this and then I'm going to come back. It's not necessarily that, oh, I can't do life without these. It's more, I've unfolded everything that I can up to this point, and now it's time to do more work. And Alan Watts has a great quote that's like, if you get the message, hang up the phone. And so sometimes you can go to the medicines, you'll get what you need, and they're like, we're not giving you anything else until you sort this part out. So remember, manage your expectations, be patient, because this is a process. And it's going to look different for everyone. Somebody else's process is not going to look the same as yours. It's going to unfold how it needs to unfold for you. So I could really honestly talk about this all day. I would love to. I love talking about psychedelic expectations and how flexing that skill works. We have a great blog about this on our website, mysticalheartcollective.com/blog. And I wanted to take a quick moment before I hop off to tell you guys about Psychedelic Integration Academy. It is our 12-week program. We've been working on this for over a year. It is launching on Wednesday. I am so excited. It's an online course, and it takes you through the entire process from preparation, navigation, and integration, and it is a perfect companion for solo journeying, a retreat. We are actually going to be offering retreats in the spring, and it will be included in our package. You will do 4 weeks of preparation with us, then you'll have a retreat, and then you do 8 weeks of integration. And we take you through the entire process ourselves. So I'm so excited to share it. We have a mailing list if you're interested in getting notified when it opens. You can check our link in bio on Instagram, or you can go to our homepage, mysticalheartcollective.com. There is a embedded sign-up sheet for sign-up form for Psychedelic Integration Academy. And if you're like, well, I'm already doing psychedelics, I just need integration, you can get the preparation and the integration pieces separately. So it's perfect for wherever you are at that time. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great weekend, and thank you for sharing us and telling your friends about us. We're really here to help spread the love of plant medicine and make the family bigger, and we're so happy you're part of our family. Have a great Friday, guys. Bye.